Hello all, this is my Naughts Crosses game, which has a fully functional artificial opponent. I'll just show you a game and so you know what's going on. Options are new game, which will reset the board. Your turn, that's an indicator, which doesn't work properly. It's just there to make it look nice and symmetrical, really. AI starts, that's if you don't want to start, but I do, so I'll go ahead, take the top corner. There's also a cake button there, which I'll show you later. So my 0 goes in the top corner. It's not my turn. Oh, there goes the AI. So just put an X there. I think I'll put my circle there. AI will stick as X in that top one to stop me getting a win. Then I've got to stop him getting a win, but of course I'm going to lose this game, just for the sake of it. It's not the fastest game. You'll notice that I fell into a pit there. And I get a loser sign pop up there with X indicating the X1 there. Cake button is just in case you want to die horribly. I was just doodling around really and made a 3x3 trapdoor, which I thought I'd throw that in. I'll just reset this. There's usually quite a bit of lag when you reset that, but I'm recording at 720p, so it's not particularly strenuous on my computer. Most of all this down the bottom here is for the 3x3 trapdoor, and then all the wires here are busing, and on the top we've got lamps so you can actually see. And then the various user input signals going along these wires. Then you come along here and see the beast of a machine, which will ignore the top for the moment because it's, well, huge. Okay, so when you press a button, it will send a signal along one of these wires here. Each of these wires relates to one of the non-agents of the tic-tac-toe board, and so the wire arrives here, and then if it's your turn, so this wire here, and if it's not, and the space is not taken in the board, and you press the signal, then it will send a pulse along these wires, which will then go to the storage space in the middle, which is the grey blocks there. Then those storage spaces will then send the signals constantly on, so it'll constantly send signals to the board, so you can see what the state of the board is. It will send them to this piece down here, which is the wind detection. The bit on the top is part of wind detection as well. And it will also send the signals out over here, and this is the AI, which will determine what the AI does, strangely enough. Okay, I just added some values to the board so that you can see something happening. Along the top section here, that's the values that I have inputted, and the bottom section is the values that the AI has inputted. It will come to this section here, which will then say if it's possible for the AI to win, then output something. And in this case, it is possible for the AI to win, so he's got this one signal going there. Then this next part here is pretty much the same thing again, duplicated, however the wires have been swapped over. So then this piece here will say if it's possible to lose, which is obviously the next most important thing to check, then you will output something here, and in this case it's not possible to lose, so none of these are turned on. And then it will come to this piece here, which is the priority for the remaining moves. So if the AI can't win and the AI can't lose, then it will prioritize according to its move according to this here, which is going to be, I believe, prioritize corners, prioritize the middle, then corners, and then sides. I did think about adding a random number generator to that there, but it seemed like a bit of hassle for not much benefit. I could also expand this last piece here to make it more accurate. At the moment the AI can lose, which in a game of tic-tac-toe is rather silly, but I actually like to win at some stage. It's not much fun just getting draw after draw after draw. Okay, and here we have how the AI decides what move it makes. See all these repeaters here and all the way along there. That's part of a wee device that I designed, which will basically choose the topmost item on a stack and output it. So the topmost item in this case is this piece here, which will mean this outputs this item here, so that's the optimal move for the AI. And then you'll see it sends a from this off signal here, everything down here is turned on, which means that even these optimal moves here, which they are turned off, however they're not sending any signals here because there's something higher in the stack which has a higher priority, so that way it will choose the best move. Now we get to the piece on the top. You'll notice that this display board, which it's actually accurate to 1 pixel here, behind here is just a wall of pistons here, so it was rather tricky to actually get that to work there. I'll just go around the top and show you how I did that. Basically there's a checkerboard pattern here behind the pistons, you can see here, so a repeater will, this repeater will power that one and that piston, this repeater will power those 2 pistons, and this block here will power this piston. However, this block here will power this piston, and this block here will power this piston. So that means if I want to fire this piston just by itself, I can send a pulse through these repeaters here, and that will work. And if I use a 1-tick pulse, then it will leave the block out. However, this block here, if I want to power just this one block, so I send a signal through these repeaters along here, then this will fire this repeater, this piston and this piston. So then I've got 2 blocks sticking out here. However, I want this block to be pulled back in, so I then send a signal through these repeaters down here as well to this block, this piston here, which will then retract that block there. So that's how I achieved the piston display accurate to 1 piston. And to maintain this checkerboard pattern, you have to take it all the way back here, so it's quite large. And then to separate the wires, these wires are all one on top of each other, so if I get rid of the white wool there, then that's going to be connect the wires. Just get some white wool. So then you come over here, so to separate these wires further you need to bring them all the way out here, and as you can see I've done that there. You'll notice these wee things are 1-tick pulses. That's just to limit the pulses that come in through all this blue wire. It's basically the pink, the white and the blue all comes in to this turquoise piece here, and all that there is just to separate the single pistons. This red wire here is for debugging purposes. It doesn't actually serve a purpose. Or does it? Yes, it does serve a purpose. That's the reset switch. I did have a debugging wire there. This here is the size of my piston screen, so I can individually activate any piston here that I want. I just have it laid out here so that I can easily plan out messages and the likes for programming it here. So each of these turquoise wall slices, they will each send when they're turned off, it will send a pulse down here, then it will slowly move and send a pulse here, then after a bit of delay here, then here, then here. So that will fire all the pistons that I've connected to the top here. So if I stick a torch there, then when it's turned off, the torch will turn on and will fire the piston. And that's how I got that to work. And so each of these turquoise slices has a different message programmed on here. That's reset, so I'll just do that. Wait a little bit of time. It's actually night time, so you might be able to see this. So if I fire test, that will fire all the pistons at once. You can see every repeater there lighting up along the way. There's quite a bit of lag. Then if I go over here, we have almost every piston firing. There should be every single piston firing, but if your computer lags, or if the chunk isn't loaded for some reason, or just whatever, sometimes it works flawlessly and other times it doesn't. This time it doesn't. So that's a wee bit unfortunate. That's with the so whenever I load this up, I like to fly around everywhere and make sure everywhere is loaded beforehand. Otherwise, I do get errors in that display more frequently. And the brown wool here, this is several random number generators. There's nothing too fancy here. I just made a clock here which will only have one piston active at a time, so when you send a pulse to here, it will randomly select one of these 3 pistons. So essentially it's randomized based off user input. And so that will determine the various messages that are sent. There is one test message which isn't used. There's, 4 win messages. What was that, 5? 0 wins, you win, winner, X wins, I win, loser, L2P noob, draw, and that there, which happens to be pi in binary, which are just the draw messages. So I think that's about it. Okay, there's also draw detection in here. This is what this orange wire is. So it takes all the signals from X and all the signals from 0, and then it will feed them all together, and if all of them happen to be on, then it's a draw. And this is the place where it will send messages to the display board. So draw, win, or AI win. And it will just send a pulse along the brown wires, which will then go to the randomizer and then the display. The pink wire here and the orange wire and the red here, this is to this is basically taking care of the turns, making sure you don't go when you're not supposed to. And this piece here is for the AI's turn. So when it's AI's turn, after your turn will send when you press the button, it will send a delayed pulse to the AI, which will then make its turn based off its best chosen move. Originally I did have a fair amount of trouble with the AI making double moves. It turned out I just had the pulse going on for too long, so the AI would calculate, it would make its move, then it would calculate its next best move, which would change, and then the pulse would still be on, so it would send that move again. New move, but yeah. And yes, that's about it. It's a wee bit large, but that's okay, it works. I quite like the top here. The display border looks quite nice. The pattern, nice triangle with the checkerboard pattern there, and splits out nicely. It's quite elegant looking at the top. I can compact this slightly, but probably only by 30 or 60 blocks on each side. It's not going to make too much difference. It's going to be huge no matter what I do. Yeah, thanks for watching. Leave a comment if you like or don't like or have any opinions about anything related or unrelated. I do like opinions, as long as they're intelligent opinions, which seems to be few and far between on the internet, but nonetheless, give it a go, and I will probably make another creation in a very long time. Thanks for watching.